See, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had so many of people that have been listening to some of my podcasts and some of my posts, and even some of my really good friends have approached me about just success and achievement, and being able to accomplish things financially. It seems that everyone is equating success to finances, so let's just be consistent with that. By the way, I'm back in Minneapolis, which is where I grew up. I'm at my what I always refer to as my lake home, and it's a winter wonderland out there. So I'll do some posts this afternoon so you guys can see what this is like. But it's so beautiful. But even more beautiful are the people from the Midwest. So anyway, I want to put things in perspective. So many of you may not be aware, but 86%. I just want to share a statistic with you. 86% of all millionaires are self-made, meaning that they made their own money, and they made it their own money. They did it through their own sacrifice, through persistence, through hard work. Okay, we're not talking about handouts from mom and dad. We're not these people. They didn't win the lotto. They weren't born into wealth. They didn't somehow inherit some gene. I mean, I always get a kick out of that, where some people say, "Hey, Peter, your dad was a good businessman, therefore you're going to be a good businessman." You know what? Here's what my dad was. My dad was a hard worker. He was a hard worker with a no-quit attitude. And that's what I learned from him, and I'll give him full credit for that. But the premise that you inherit some crazy mad gene that allows you to be this whiz kid at being an entrepreneur, no, it's not. There's no truth in it. In fact, most millionaires, when you look at it statistically, when you talk to them, most of them come from poor families, and they flat out fought their way to success, right? And that's the one thing that I talk about is you just can't quit. And you guys hear me talk about it all the time. You can't quit in business. You can't quit in your relationship, and you guys hear me say it all the time. When you're dating a quitter, get the hell out of there, right? Because it's a dead end for you. All right. The other thing to think about is your family. Okay. Some people get caught in a little bit of a rut because they live within a family household that sets the limitations. Very, very conservative, and you may want to break that mold and get out of there and be your own entrepreneur. And every time it seems like you throw an idea out there, somebody's trying to wash it away for you. And so, be careful about that. Just understand going into these things that I know it's hard work. We've talked about that, but I'm just going to use one of my kids as a reference. When my kids talk to me about getting into business, I never tell them that's a crazy idea. It's a stupid idea. What I do is I talk to them. I say, look, you know what? I did something like that in my life, and here's the experience that I had in there. So if this is something that you decide that you want to do, make sure that you watch out for those deep potholes, because you can save yourself a lot of frustration and agony. Okay. Let's talk about luck. I've never met a millionaire. Since we're talking about money now, I've never met a millionaire that says, Peter, I was just lucky. Okay. Luck doesn't have a damn thing to do with being a millionaire. All right. And if you're hoping that you're going to get lucky, you got to change your mindset straight away, because you know what? The harder you work, the luckier you get. You hear that all the time. There's some truth to it. You know what? You better, if this is something, if you want to pursue, real wealth, you got to be thinking about what level of sacrifice are you willing to make? Because trust me, and it's not one or two, it's freaking hundreds of sacrifices that you will make along the way. When I think about the 30 years of my battle of being, I guess, to financial independence or wealth, whatever the hell you want to call it. I have battle wounds for 30 years, right, of sacrifice, of a number of different things. So you better be able to ask yourself, how far are you willing to go? How far are you willing to push yourself? It's a fair question. You know what? But you better have you look yourself in the mirror and be mentally prepared for what it's going to do or for what it's going to take. Okay. Some people say, you guys have heard me talk about obsession. Hey, look, you're damn right. You better be obsessed with whatever it is that you intend to do. Obsessed, literally, you got to be thinking about it all the time. I'm partners with one of my very dear friends, Augusto, in a company called Global Child. You can catch it on Amazon Prime and on airlines and whatnot. But anyway, hardworking guy, no quit in him. Never once have I felt one glimpse or hesitation of his saying, hey, Peter, this just isn't going to work out. You know what? The guy is a fighter, which is why I invested in the company. Because as I always say before, you got to bet on the horse in some cases. And Augusto, he is my Seabiscuit, right? I would take that guy to battle with me any day, right? I love him as a friend. He's a great guy, but you know what? The guy works his ass off, and I love that about him, okay? I want to spend a moment and just talk to you about fakes, about just, social media fakes, just fake people, just fake bullshit in general, if you don't mind. And I say this because I see it all the time. I get approached all the time. And it drives me absolutely crazy. And I tell you what, sometimes I feel like I got to go to battle for Joe and Mary Six-Pack, just the common folk USA, to say that when they approach me on it, I want to tell them, hey, look, stop the bullshit. Stop this bullshit rap of yours that in 90 days, these people are going to go from making nothing to 10 grand a month. Whether it's some bullshit multi-level marketing, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but these are the same people. They're fanning $100 bills. They're standing in front of jets and Ferraris that they don't own. They're talking about some whiz kid 3-step business plan bullshit. No risk, no capital. Hey, look, you know what? There's a lot of those people out there, and I'm telling you, you have to look at the business and make sure that the business is relevant first. And I will tell you, I've got some very dear friends of mine that are in that space. And here's the difference between them. They talk about these guys. I mean, I got a couple of really dear friends, Chris and Alex. Shit, they talk about, they make making money look easy. But I know these guys on a personal level, right? They talk about sacrifice, right? They talk about commitment. They talk about consistency. They talk about risk. They talk about timeline, all right? To set things in the right perspective. I tell you what, you're doing no one any favors. And here's the problem. And here's where I step in. I get people that have called me after they've made the decision. Hey, Peter, they've got a dual income coming into the household. My wife quit her job and she's doing this multi-level marketing thing. And I know how the freaking story ends, and it drives me crazy because she had a job. Was it her dream job or his dream job? No, it wasn't. You know what? It was not their dream job. But I tell you what, when you're going to make a transition, you better think about what is the household income that we need to have and what happens if this doesn't work. Because you don't want to sink the ship, okay? I'm not saying that don't take risk. I'm just saying when somebody tells you, hey, you're going to do this and Peter, within 4 months, you're going to be making $5 to $8 grand a month. And you know what? Within a year, we're going to give you the keys to a new car. You know what? It's bullshit. What they lead you to believe is that, maybe 5% of the people that get into the program perform at that level. So they lead you to believe that the chances of you being in that 5% are so high. Well, what happens is these people come back to me and now they're in dire straits. The person has left their job where at least they had a steady paycheck and benefits. They've left that to go out on their own. And that's the risk of being an entrepreneur. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying go into these things with your eyes open and don't get sold a line of bullshit by a salesperson, because all they're trying to do, they're just trying to better themselves, and I'm not faulting them for it. The only thing that I get on those people for is they try to make it look so easy, And they don't talk about realistic timelines. They don't talk about sacrifice. They don't talk about the what ifs. And that's what I've got a problem with, right? That they don't help people assess the risk of what if it doesn't work. All right? And I'll tell you, every investment that I ever get into, every single one, I barely listen to the up and to the right, okay? Hey, Peter, you do this, you're going to get a 500% return on your money. I stop them. I want to say, stop the bullshit. Tell me, what's my downside? Because if I can live with the downside, that's where I make all of my business decisions. I make my business decisions based on the downside. If I can live with that, then it's something that I entertain. If I can't live with the downside, if it's going to sink the ship, if it's going to put me at risk of losing everything that I've ever worked for, hell no, I'm not going to do it, regardless of whatever anybody is telling me. I want you to do the same thing. Don't buy into people's bullshit, because what they're doing is they're just trying to sell you. All right? So go into these things with your eyes open. I admire, you know what? I admire people that have the courage to step away from their day job, step away from their job and do something else. And as I said before, I've talked about multi-level marketing. I've talked about, some 3-step get rich quick scheme. Look, I admire anybody that's got the guts to step away and make that move. What this video is about today, it's about telling you, think before you jump, because put some value in. If you've got a steady paycheck coming in every week, make sure that you've got enough dry powder in the background that if your plan B doesn't work out, that you're not out there trying to sell your home and sell your car just to make ends meet. If that makes any sense, because believe me, there's a lot of people out there that they're great salespeople, and the only people that are making money are those guys. You know what? You're buying products that are 20, 30% higher than market price, and it's got to be that because it's got to pay the entire downline, or they just make everything look too easy. And look, once again, they're just salespeople. I don't fault anyone for it. I know a lot of people that have done very well in multi-level marketing, but I tell you what, I know 10 times as many that have tried it and have not made a nickel at it. All right. So proceed with caution. All right. Let's see if I've got anything else. There's no, I guess at the end of the day, you guys, you've got to believe in yourself. Okay. I mean, that's the bottom line. Don't look to others to build you up. You have got to take a step back. You got to look in the mirror every day, and you've got to believe in yourself that you can do it. The confidence that you have has got to come from within, okay? If you're looking for others to build you up and to give you confidence in order for you to succeed, or every time somebody tries to say something negative about you, if you crawl under your desk in the fetal position, hey, look, that's not for you either, right? Being in business, it's hard work. So believe in yourself. Don't sell yourself short, right? Just chase your dream for the love of God. But all I'm telling you is chase your dream with your eyes open, with a realistic expectation. Once again, these weekly posts that I make, it's my perspective on life. It's my perspective on relationships. I'm not saying that I'm an expert on any of it, but I've got real life experiences in everything that I'm talking about. I've seen it, I've witnessed it, and I've consulted hundreds of people on how to fight their way out of some dire straits. This is the type of thing that I'm going to continue to do. I enjoy it. I love nothing more than helping people get on a path of success. And I'm talking about not only financial success, but spiritual success, and they have a balanced home life. Those are all the things that I get excited about. So everyone, I hope that you all have a Merry Christmas, and I hope that you find what I'm talking about of value. Once again, if there's anything that you want me to speak to directly, I'm happy to do that. Just make a note of it, and thank all of you for all your kind comments. I really, truly appreciate it. So everyone, once again, be blessed. Have a Merry Christmas. Ciao.